That wasn't a bad one, Pradesh.
But that was a smooth shot though. Okay, so before I play my next shot, Ifti, I have a question for you. How much deposit do I really need to buy a house?
Good question. Traditionally, lenders need a 10% deposit to start off with when you're buying a property. So most lenders on the high street and traditional lenders, they will want a 10% deposit.
But Ifti, just to interrupt you there a bit, aren't there any mortgages with less than 5% deposit? I know there's 5% and traditionally there's been 10% deposit mortgages, but I hear there's a buzz in the market where you don't actually need a deposit to kind of afford a mortgage. Is that really true?
Yeah, I think it's good time you interrupted actually, because it's a good thing you asked that question, because I was trying to explain that. So these are like new things that we are seeing in the market. There is a 0% deposit mortgage out there.
Wow.
So with that, what happens is the lender will look at your past history of how well you paid your rent. So for example, if you're buying a house which is sort of, the mortgage is £1,500, but you're used to paying more than £1,500 as rent, you may qualify with them. But of course, there are a lot of stringent requirements as well. Your credit scores.
Yeah, there's always a catch, isn't
Yeah,
it? Because
of course, yeah.
I thought so, because of course, deposit is more like the, is your contribution towards the security that you kind of want to purchase, right? And from the point of view of the bank, it's a big risk for them, isn't it?
Exactly.
So they'll of course expect the risk to be reduced as much as possible through your contribution of deposit.
Exactly.
So it's, I'm a little startled though, as much as I'm excited to know that 0% deposit mortgages exist, I'm just a little startled because of the catch that could be there. So what exactly is the catch there to get that 0% deposit?
One thing is, like I said, you look at your rent. So if your mortgage is going to be higher than what you're currently paying, the lender might not be satisfied that you can afford that mortgage. So that's one of the conditions.
So for how long should I be paying this rent?
Again, it's subject to underwriting. They want to see it for a good period of time that you have been paying that rent, so that gives that comfort. But the second thing is your credit score. It has to be immaculate, right? So it's not for everybody, because remember, like you said, right, the bank is taking the risk 100% on you because you're not contributing anything. So they will want to see that your credit scores be perfect.
Right, so apart from these zero deposit mortgages, are there any other schemes out there? Because from what you're saying, it has a lot of conditions attached to it, and sometimes it can be a bit troublesome to go through all the conditions. And personally, I don't know if I will be paying a pretty high rent for me to actually go for a deposit mortgage, 0% deposit mortgage. But what are the alternative schemes out there for me?
Okay, so there's something called a shared ownership scheme. A lot of people kind of leave this out, right? But the thing is, shared ownership is mainly for new houses or somebody who's buying a house which is currently under shared ownership and those people are moving out of the house. This scheme is available for them as well. Now,
yeah, I do have a question there, Ifti. So is this where the housing association is involved?
Yeah, exactly, Pradesh. That's exactly what I was trying to say. So with the housing association, what happens is, let's say you're buying a house for £200,000. What happens is you buy this house along with the housing association. You buy about 25% share. So if it's 200,000 property, it's a 50,000 share that you're buying. So you need the mortgage on only 50,000. That's the beauty of it, right? So if it's 50,000, what you need is a 10% deposit of 50,000, which is £5,000. But there is a bonus here, right? I'll explain that to you. So if you need £5,000, that divide by sort of 200,000, it's actually a 2.5% deposit. But what I was going to say is, remember there's a scheme called LISA or LISA, some people call it. LISA might be useful because if you contribute towards LISA, £4,000, government gives you £1,000 top up. But if you're doing it joint with somebody else, there's £2,000 top up. So that can help you. So you may actually not even need all that money because the government is giving you some bonus money, right?
Okay, so I've bought 25%.
Yeah.
Now what happens to the rest of the 75%?
Yeah, so that's on rent. So you rent that bit of the property. Of course, you're currently used to renting, right? So, you'll rent it, but over a period of time, the idea is you buy over their share and own the property 100%. So Pradesh, why don't you play your shot?
Yeah, of course, Ifti. Before I shoot my next question, I think I have to shoot this. That was a lucky shot, I guess.
Sometimes you need luck in life, Pradesh.
Yeah, talking about luck, Ifti. Sometimes you need luck even to buy a house, isn't it? For the whole process to go smooth.
Definitely.
Because house buying process can sometimes be tedious, but that is when people like you come into the picture and help people like us, the first time buyers or people who have just come to the country to buy a house. So, I hear that there's something called the mortgage guarantee scheme. So, what is this scheme all about?
Yeah, that's again something very useful because with 5% you can buy a property. So effectively you are putting 5% deposit. Don't worry too much about the guarantees because what happens is the government guarantees. So effectively to give the banks the confidence to lend. So the government says in case the property is repossessed and the property value has gone down, they will guarantee the bank. So that's an arrangement that happens in the background. But as far as you're concerned, it's a 5% deposit.
So I'm in safer hands with the help of the government, of course,
yeah.
in the background. So what about the Help to Buy? I know Help to Buy stopped some time back, a couple of years ago. So what are there any regional Help to Buy schemes? I hear there's something called Wales Help to Buy scheme. So do I really have to live in Wales for me to get it? Or can I apply for it from anywhere else? How does it work exactly?
Yeah, so obviously like you said, Help to Buy in England stopped, right? It stopped a few months ago, pretty much over a year ago now, except for the people who are currently on the scheme. So there's no new applications, but Wales is open. So if you are interested in applying for Help to Buy in Wales, you only need a 5% deposit. But remember, the houses in Wales can be a little cheaper than London as well, right? So if you have the luxury of working from home, Wales might be an option for you. So all you need is 5% deposit, and that will help you get the property using the Help to Buy scheme. Likewise, there are regional schemes, like you said, apart from Wales as well, but the Wales one is the popular one.
Right, so are there any lender-specific schemes? Because I also hear that there are so many schemes out there like Helping Hand and sometimes lenders even are okay to give you up to 5.5 times your income. Is that true? Because usually the industry average is 4.5 times your income. Yeah. But is it true that they can even lend you more than that?
Yeah, no, that's true because there are some lenders who give 5.5 times your income. That's something that to bear in mind because that's when advisors become important. Because some people say if I don't have 5%, I can't make it work. But there are different routes that we can look at as alternatives as well. So always speak to an advisor like us or your bank, whoever you're comfortable with and who will give you independent advice. So that might be useful. So yes, definitely. Right, it's my shot, Pradesh. Let's go that way.
Of course, Ifti. Okay, Ifti. So going back to mortgage guarantee scheme, so you said all we need as a first-time buyer is a 5% deposit, and the rest of it, part of it at least, is being covered by the government themselves. But do the banks themselves offer a 5% deposit mortgage scheme?
Yeah, some of the banks offer that as well. Because traditionally it's 10%, but some banks from time to time they offer 5% deposit mortgage to help first-time buyers, right? So there is schemes out there. Of course, if somebody is moving house, those schemes might be available as well, but from time to time. But not all banks offer it. Again, if you speak to an advisor, they will know which banks will offer you this.
Right. So looks like you're contributing 5% of the property value. 95% of it is borne by the bank themselves, and kudos to the bank. So I'm actually happy to take the risk, right? So not everyone takes the risks, especially to the ones that take 100% of the risk as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. Are there any other schemes out there that I'm missing? Because I really don't know, because the market is so large that there could be so many schemes, right?
Yeah, I mean, there are small boutique banks who offer certain schemes, right? I mean, will take forever to explain all those schemes. But there are some small boutique banks who offer these schemes as well. They have different types of schemes. It may not be a 5% deposit scheme, but they package it in such a way that it helps the first-time buyer. So, things like that, if you are speaking to an advisor, they will be aware of those schemes. They will try to match it with your circumstances. So there is schemes out there. But one thing to watch for is new builds. Because some of the new builds today, because the housing market has been a little slow, they are offering incentives. Sometimes all you need is a 5% deposit because the new build will offer you the balance 5%. So, they have their own schemes as well. So again, advisors know how these schemes work. It's best to talk to an advisor on these things.
So before I go for a property purchase, I think I should probably come and pay a visit to your office or maybe have a chat with you over the phone so that I know I'm making the right decision.
Yes, definitely. I mean, you can speak to us, and obviously there are other mortgage advisors out there as well. But if you're comfortable talking to your bank, please do feel free to talk to them because they might be able to guide you on these things.
Also, I know you mentioned things like shared ownership schemes and help to buy schemes. Probably shared ownership is worth having a chat on because that's a very interesting scheme, and we'll make another video about it, isn't it? We'll probably have another game of pool or have a cup of tea in a nice scenario, nice setting, and we'll talk more on shared ownership on our next video of quick chat mortgages, I should call it.
Yeah, that sounds good, Pradesh, because there's lots to talk about with shared ownership.
All right. So thank you, Steve, once again. It was nice playing this game of pool. I think we can still continue it after this conversation.
I think it's your turn, Pradesh.
Until then, it's tata bye-bye from Ifti and Pradesh.